Hey guys, how you doing? And welcome to another episode of Arnold's Space Station. As part of this episode, we're actually going to have a look at how we can set up email to case inside Salesforce. As a result, email to case is actually going to provide you and your organization another way for you to take cases. So rather than just the conventional way of phone calls, you can now allow customers to log cases themselves just by simply setting up an email address that works inside Salesforce. And this email address can pretty much be an email address that is used by your organization or even another organization if you are a support center. So what this will enable you to do is you can actually create a very different experience for customers. So that way, rather than waiting in queue on the phone, hoping to get in touch with you, or waiting and calling and then texting in, they can actually send an email, which is something a lot of people are already used to. And as a result, they'll go ahead and they'll be able to receive a case number. And then if they really want, they can follow up. You can also choose to have different email addresses and set up a few different rules inside Salesforce to help you prioritize tickets. Although we won't go into that depth in this episode, we will show you how you can go ahead and set it up. So let's go and have a look at how we can do this inside Salesforce.
The Eagle has landed.
So once you've logged into Salesforce, you need to navigate to the setup section. You can do so by clicking on the right-hand side of the page. You'll notice there is what looks like a setup or a cogwheel. You click on that and enter setup. Once it loads, what we need to look for is email dash, and as soon as you put in the dash, it will come up under the Service Cloud section with email to case. So let's go ahead and click on that. Once you've clicked on that, it will give you an introduction to what email to case is. I'd highly recommend you go through this and read through it. Today, what we're going to go ahead and set up is on-demand email to case, and we're going to do it using Gmail. So you can certainly do it using Gmail, G Suite, Office 365, Exchange, and a range of other email platforms. However, I do know that with some of the other ones, there are some limitations. The limitation is not on the Salesforce front. However, it is with that particular email platform. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue. Once I've clicked continue, I'm going to click edit. So in here, as you can see, I have previously enabled email to case in this particular Salesforce org. And I have gone ahead and ticked notify case owners, enable HTML email, and also I've allowed for any attachments that come through, and these could include screenshots, maybe some audio files or some video files. Those will get attached to the case as Salesforce files. Now in here, I've also gone ahead and ticked all of these different options for the thread IDs. Now, a thread ID in Salesforce cases is a unique variable that you can place in the subject and the body of an email. And it's used so that when people reply back to you from that particular email that gets sent out, it'll always get attached to the case relating to that particular email query. So I've made sure that that's ticked, because the last thing I want is for each and every single email that comes through to be tagged as a brand new case. Unless it genuinely is a brand new case, I want all of those replies and responses and that email communication around that case to stick in one place. I then made sure I went ahead and enabled on-demand service, and that just means that it'll work through really quickly, and it will allow us to connect it to an email platform as opposed to using the Apex email to case system. So I left these as defaults, in which case if it is over the email limit, it is going to bounce that email. The last thing you want is for people to send you a couple of hundred megs worth of emails, and that I think that's too much. That'll also help you reduce your storage in Salesforce. So there is a limit. I believe that limit is about 20 meg. Anything under that is safe, but anything over that, I've advised Salesforce to actually bounce it and send a reply through. And in this case, anyone that's unauthorized as the actual sender, it is going to disregard that particular message. So I'm going to go ahead and click save, and when I do, it'll advise me of all the options I've selected, and then it'll give me this new section down the bottom here that says routing addresses. Now I'm going to go ahead and click new, and I'm going to put in the address that I actually think needs to be used. I have set this up as an email address in our G Suite that we use. And I've gone ahead and given it a routing name. Now just remember, you can actually have more than one email address routing through if you like. You can use this for different cases where perhaps based on the type of product or the urgency, you choose to have your customers reply back or raise cases using a different email address. And with that in mind, you can go ahead and assign that to a different case user or perhaps a queue as well. So in this case, I'm just going to type in my name as the case owner down the bottom. And I'm going to set the priority for any cases that come through this particular email address and are routed to Salesforce as medium. And I'm going to set the case origin as email. I then also would like to use the Salesforce feature that does allow you to in fact create a task to notify or further notify this particular case owner. So I'm going to create it as not started. That's just the default. If you had more statuses, you can go ahead and select that. And it's the exact same thing with the case priority and case origin. So if you customize the default to say, perhaps you want high, medium, low, and then you might want a priority to say extremely urgent, or perhaps 911, or whatever else you'd like to set up as a priority, you can certainly have that and have the case routed accordingly. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to save the case headers, and I'm going to put in this particular email address as an accepted email address to write or create cases. And I'm also going to put in google.com. Now we're using G Suite or Gmail, and therefore I'm going to put in google.com, so that way any critical emails that do come in from Google, I can record them as cases and perhaps assign it to the IT department that takes care of anything related with Google as part of it. And I'll also need that to verify the email address. So if you were using Microsoft or any other email service, you can certainly go ahead and put in the correct domain name for that. So that way it will allow you to do things like verification if it's required to set up your forwarding and any other critical emails that come through as part of that service. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to go ahead and click save, and it is going to tell me that we do need to verify that this particular email address in fact does exist. Otherwise, Salesforce is not going to allow you to send data to the system. So once I have gone ahead and clicked save or OK in the previous window, it is going to advise us that this is the email address that it's going to accept cases from, and I'm going to click verify on that one. When I do click verify, it'll take me to what looks like a Salesforce Classic page. I'm going to click continue. Once I've done that, I'm going to navigate to my actual email platform. So I'm going to go to my inbox, and as you can see, there are a few different emails come in from Salesforce. So I'm going to scroll down to the very last one that I've received, and I'm going to click on this link. Once I click on the link, it will advise me that this email is now verified. So I'm going to click continue. Once I click continue, it's just going to log me back into Sales Cloud. So I'm going to close the brand new open tab and go back to the previous one, not the classic version, but the Lightning version. And I'm just going to refresh the page. Once I refresh the page, ideally what we should see is that should now say verified. And I can go ahead and copy this email address, that is the email services address, and set it up in my G Suite as the forwarding address. That means any emails that come through this particular email service, which is our G Suite, it will go ahead and forward it on. Now, you can also choose to perhaps set up a filter if required as part of your process to further narrow down only certain emails or certain subject lines, etc., get sent or forwarded to Salesforce. I'd highly recommend you speak to your IT provider or internal IT team to see what you can do to set it up. And based on some of the limitations of the system, there certainly are ways to overcome that, and you can be advised by the IT personnel. I'm going to go ahead and click next, and it is going to allow me to add that address in. Now, once I've added the address in, what I need to do, Gmail's protocol, is to verify it. So I'm going to click resend email, and it says that it's going to go ahead and send that email confirmation. Now, that email confirmation is going to go ahead and come into your cases. So I'm going to click on cases, and I'm going to have a look at all open cases. And as you can see here, there is an email verification that has in fact come through. So I'm going to go to the last case number in here. I'm going to scroll down, and as you can see, this is what the email will look like once you've set up your email to case. It'll come through and it'll try and maintain as much of the HTML as possible. It can also be viewed on the right hand side depending on how your page layout is set up. But using this confirmation code, I'm going to verify this, and now I can go ahead and activate that forwarding rule. I'm going to mark anything as read, and I'm going to save this. So now if you had to go ahead and submit a case using email to case, it will come in. I'm just going to go ahead through my personal mailbox. I am going to send an email. So I'm going to call this test case. Hi, please assist ... and I'm going to insert a picture in here as an attachment. So the attachment is going to be my desktop logo, and I'm going to go ahead and click send. Once I've done that, let me go to all open cases. I'm going to close these ones off. And if we give it a couple of moments, we should see an email come through. So as you can now see, it has gone ahead and created a brand new case. It's found my details, and based on that, it's advised the system that this is where the email has come from or from who. Clearly, if the contact does not exist in the system, as you can see in some of these previous ones, it will come up with blank. And then you can go in there and add the contact details. So I'm going to very quickly go into this particular case, and you can see that I have got the subject. It's trying to maintain some of these images as best as possible, but it will strip a lot of that out just to save some space. As you can see on the right hand side, you can see the HTML version of it, so you can still click on and get through any links that exist. And if you have a look in here, it has gone ahead and verified or brought in this particular image as well that I'd uploaded, and I can go ahead in the related list and have a look and see that that has come through as an attachment. From here, I can go ahead and follow my normal case process, but that's how simple it can be to set up email to case. Just about 15 minutes of your time, and you should be good to go. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please ensure you subscribe to this channel so you can get all the brand new episodes that are coming up. Please also ensure you share this material if you liked it, and make sure you click here for some more videos.